What's going on, guys? I'm out here living the lake life, enjoying life. I haven't done a video for Coin Vigilante in a long time, but maybe I can add one of just myself without interviewing people. It's kind of hard to find people to interview, so I'm just gonna talk. Okay, I'm gonna rant a little bit. I'm out here working, living the life. Look at this, freaking amazing cabin, right? Just enjoying the life. I'll show you guys around. You guys are my followers, subscribers. Look at this. You could be here too. This location is very hard to get. You have to rent it, months in advance, sometimes years. Obviously not the cheapest, right? You're out here next to a beautiful lake, crystal clear, all that. So there's not that many places like that around the area, especially in Ohio where I am. And so there's a premium that comes with things that are not around like that, right? Why? It's because they're scarce. Scarcity, right? Scarcity by its own nature is usually valued more than anything else. And it's the same thing with Bitcoin. 21 million Bitcoin ever. 3 to 4 million of those are already lost. There's a story of this German engineer or something who lost his private key. Right now it's valued, like his whole stash is valued at like $200 million. He's willing to pay the police over there like $80 million just to go through a dump and just try to find his private key. So again, scarce, right? Those are gone forever, those Bitcoin. And it's the same thing, guys. So this is just a little analogy of the scarcity aspect that comes with a lot of things, not just Bitcoin, Litecoin, right? Litecoin, 84 million Litecoin ever. And so, with that said, is we have to start wiring our brains to be thinking not just of price. So right now, what Litecoin is at 170, Bitcoin's at 39. So Bitcoin's down, 45%, 40% from its all-time high of 64K. Litecoin is down, I don't know, more than 50%. All these cryptos, right? Everything. And so, right now we're all caught up with the price and we're thinking, man, it just sucks. Is the bull run over? Litecoin was supposed to hit $1,000. Carlos was saying it's going to hit $1,000. Bitcoin, everyone was saying 250K. Okay, all right. Look, there goes my coffee just falling down. We're so caught up, and I made a video on Twitter, and I said, hey, look, in the U.S., and especially first world countries, maybe second world countries too, we're really spoiled. And what do I mean by that? Is we're so caught up in price. Look at that. Look, every family member I had, people that I haven't talked to that don't know anything about cryptocurrency, were hitting me up a couple months ago before the crash, and they were just telling me, oh my gosh, look at Doge, man, I'm making so much money, or what should I do? What's the hot coin that's going to make me a millionaire? What's the hot coin? Look at this Shiba coin, look at this SafeMoon, this, that. Cool, yeah, I don't even know what the projects do. Okay, yeah, you can make some money. Honestly, Dogecoin people that put their money in January compared to Bitcoin have made a crap ton of money. But see, the mentality is money. How much money can I make? How rich and how quick can I make money? And to me, that beats a little bit of the purpose of what we're trying to do. Because, for example, in Latin American countries and African countries where people live in a predatory monetary system. What do I mean by that? Well, over there, countries and the economies are doing pretty bad. And they're actually seeing hyperinflation. So, for example, in Venezuela, what you see is people are actually burning their dollars or their cash or bolívares, right, to keep their houses warm. So that cash is worth nothing, right? You basically need to go to a gas station, buy some batteries, and bring a stash that big full of cash to buy one battery. And so it's worthless. And what happens in those predatory monetary systems is that usually there's capital flight. If an economy is doing bad, And if their currency is being devalued day after day after day, and everything is becoming expensive because of the hyperinflation, what do people want to do? Well, I don't want to hold my damn currency that's losing 99.999% of the value. So what do? I exchange it for maybe gold. I exchange it for maybe US dollars, because that's the world reserve currency and that's going to hold its value. I'll exchange it for anything else but my own local currency. Well, the governments don't let you do that, okay? Because they control it. And so what they do is they freeze all the bank accounts, they freeze withdrawals, they freeze everything, right? And so it's a mess. And so what happens? Well, at that point, you're this Venezuelan that wants their family to be doing well and not be living in this shithole. And what do you got to do? Well, you can't get dollars. You can't get anything because the banking system in your country doesn't let you. But wait a minute. Something exists called Bitcoin. Something exists called Litecoin. What are these cryptocurrencies? They're actually cryptocurrencies. These are not whatever the hell new token is coming out that's making millionaires. No. See, over there, they don't really care about price. They care about something that's reliable, that is censorship resistant. You cannot censor Bitcoin. You cannot censor Litecoin because there's not one government that controls it. There's not one Chase, JP Morgan that can cancel your transactions if you're sending it somewhere. That's the beauty of it all. And you see, here in the US, we're not thinking like that because we live such a comfortable life, right? Everything is secure. We're safe. We don't really need to worry about anything. Dollar is a world reserve currency. Every other currency is a shit piece, and the dollar's fine, right? So everything's okay here until it's not. And then we got to start worrying about it. But you know who already understands Bitcoin? You know who already understands decentralization? Litecoin? People in third world countries, more than we do. They're not worried so much about price. See, it's a store of value. If you look up how the dollar has performed against Bitcoin and Litecoin, since their existence, you see that the dollar has continued to lose purchasing power against Bitcoin and Litecoin continuously. And so that tells you that Bitcoin, Litecoin, which are scarce, are holding their value. And they're not just scarce, they're decentralized, censorship resistant. It's programmable sound money. And no one can tell you that you cannot be sending Bitcoin to someone or a family member in another country. Or, a friend over here. It's crazy. There's no central authority controlling that. And that is groundbreaking in all levels. And, a lot of this video is going to be a rant, but I haven't really talked to, I haven't done my podcast, so a lot of it's just going to be free thinking. And, my work computer is just restarting, so I got time. I got time to talk. And so, you see, we're not placing the importance of Bitcoin and Litecoin and some cryptocurrencies that are actually decentralized in their fundamentals. We just think about price, what's price doing, what's going on here. And so, that defeats the purpose of what they are. And so we need to refocus, especially when the market's not so hot, and think of why we're invested. At least this is the way I'm thinking. You don't have to follow or believe anything I'm saying, but I got my own podcast. I can talk about whatever I want. And if it helps someone, it helps someone. And so that's the way I think about it. And part of the reason why I'm involved in this space is because, guys, when you realize how rigged the current monetary system is and financial system, you're going to start to want to understand Bitcoin, Litecoin, because we're in such a bad situation in our current monetary system. All the money that has been printed in the past, in the past year, I think 30 to 40% of all US dollars have been printed in the entire existence. That's nuts. I don't even know what the current national debt is. What, $30 trillion? Something like that. Something crazy. And now we're going to do another stimulus, infrastructure stimulus of God knows how many trillion, $4 trillion. So, you see, these governments, it's never, the budget deficit that we have has never been a revenue problem. Revenue as in taxes coming in that are being taken from me, from you, from everyone listening. It's a spending problem. The government continues to spend I don't even know what I'm saying. The government continues to spend, and what they do is just print trillions out of thin air. Out of thin air. Did you see that 60-minute interview with Jerome Powell and Kashkari, who is one of the presidents of the Federal Reserve, say, yeah, essentially what we do is we can just print a button, print a bunch of zeros, and boom, there it is. So what happened? Let's zoom back a little bit. Okay, we have one of the worst economic crises since the Great Depression occurred last year because of COVID. The entire economy shut down across the world. Who got shafted? Hard workers at restaurants, hotels, the whole food industry got destroyed. What? And the food industry and small jobs like that consist of low-income families to middle income. So they got destroyed. Everyone else, that has a good job probably is teleworking. They're still earning income. You'd think that in an economic crisis that, well, yes, stocks crashed, Bitcoin crashed, gold crashed, commodities crashed, everything crashed the moment that COVID started. But that was a liquidity crisis or something like that. And so, but what happened? You would expect that news after bad news, after bad news, after bad news, after more bad news, that everything would keep tanking. No. Everything crashed hard, and then we've been making all-time highs in everything since April of 2020. How does that make any sense? After more bad news come out, after economies are doing even worse, after businesses are earning less and bringing less revenue than they've ever brought before, unemployment hit 10%, then 8%. And so, why? That is because the government saved assets, financial assets, and the rich at the expense of the US dollar. What do I mean by that? Who owns 50% of all assets? The top 1%, at least in the US. Top 1% own about 50% of all assets. Then you get to the point. So, what I'm saying is, the top 1%, okay, they own 50% of assets. The bottom 50%, which is me, and most of you listening, own about less than 5% of all assets. Now, what am I talking about with assets? Real estate, equities, commodities, all these things. So, what's the problem here? With all the money that they printed and they pumped into the system, they pumped equities, commodities, real estate, and Bitcoin and crypto. Because why? That money is not being put to work and trying to get the economy going. What these people did is, remember that when the government prints money, this money first goes into financial institutions and banks. And then banks are supposed to lend it out to other people to get the economic, activity going. That's not happening. People are putting those dollars into assets because they want to hold scarce assets. And that's what's happening with Bitcoin. That's what's happening with crypto. But the problem is that small people like you and I only hold dollars and maybe a mortgage. That's a liability, not even an asset yet, because we owe it. We're still paying the payments. And so they literally destroyed the middle class and the lower class and pumped all assets. And so we're seeing inflation being hit in assets, in all of the assets that I just mentioned, at the expense of the US dollar. How crazy is that? How does that not make you mad? Basically what it means is that every dollar you have in your bank account, if this is not making any sense to you, then it should. Because what I'm trying to say is everything is becoming more expensive for you to own. The wealth gap is increasing in the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. And you're being affected. Hyperinflation or inflation or whatever you want to call it is actually happening in your country. And so that is why I'm into cryptocurrency, because it's scarce and it's actually the exit out of the rigged financial system, because no one controls Bitcoin, no one controls Litecoin, and I am going to put my trust in something that's decentralized. Because I don't trust the government 90% of the time. I don't trust the central banks 90% of the time, because they're a joke. They don't care about you. They don't care about your hard work and the time and effort that you put into your 9 to 5 to bring money to the table, because that money that you put into the table is continuing to devalue over time, thanks to them, by printing money and more and more and more. And don't get me started on taxes. People say, well, yeah, I mean, but we need to be funding schools, we need to be funding this. Guys, it's not a revenue problem. The government wants to tax you more every single time. And that's because we need to meet our budgets and whatever, when they can just print everything out of thin air. The only reason why we need to pay taxes to begin with is because of capital flight, right? If we need to pay taxes in US dollars, we need to be holding US dollars. And so that means we can't be exchanging it for other things. And basically it's to create demand for the local currency. That's the only reason. There's no reason. Before 1913, there was no income tax, right? The government was doing all right. All of a sudden, the government just gets more government control, more power, and they just take power away from the little guy. And so, you know, half of what I'm saying is a rant. It might not even be making any sense to you. Or I might not even be making any sense. But all I'm trying to say is, to me, my thesis is the government is not here to help you. They will never place your interest above theirs, especially the banks. All they want is Wall Street over Main Street. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and Litecoin are offering the opportunity to actually exit that system, to join the decentralized system. And, you know, hopefully, and with Metcalfe's law, look into Metcalfe's law. Raoul Pal talks about this. And that basically means, from my understanding, is that scarce assets and that are a network, because Litecoin's a network, Bitcoin's a network, with a growing ecosystem, as more and more people join the network, everything grows exponentially on a log scale. And so that's why we see the price of Bitcoin go like this, Litecoin go like this, Ethereum go like this, because it's following Metcalfe's law. And so in these scarce assets with a growing network, you're going to see exponential growth, which is what we're seeing. And so look into that, Raoul Pal. And then he also talks about the exponential age. That's huge. Listen to him talk about that. And just try to inform yourself a little bit, as much as you can, into what's happening. This whole crash, I'm telling you right now, this whole crash that we saw, I mean, it even scared me. I was looking at my portfolio and I'm like, holy shit. I have not seen anything like this since 2017 and 2018 crash, where everything dropped 90%. I was looking at my portfolio, dollar after dollar is going down every single second. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? But now that everything's a little bit calm, you got to think, what's happening right now? So we got El Salvador, the country, now approved Bitcoin as legal tender. Meaning, every business, everyone is essentially forced to be accepting Bitcoin. And so that's insane. A government is doing this. A government. Why are they doing this? Because they're seeing the opportunity that it will even provide for their country. Right? So, I mean, it's crazy. We see governments, we see companies like MicroStrategy who have turned, as Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy, says, the melting ice cube, the dollar sitting in your reserve, continuing to be devalued thanks to the current system. They're turning that melting ice cube into Bitcoin, which goes up in value over time. The purchasing power is stored. And your purchasing power actually increases on top of being stored. And so we're seeing companies like that, and Tesla did the same thing. They exchanged some of their dollars in the reserve into Bitcoin. And so more and more people are realizing the importance. And all of these like market crashes that we're seeing, they're made to keep the little guy from winning. They want you to be selling now, so that other people, the big guys, whoever, can hold more of that Bitcoin that you're selling to them. Weak hands going into strong hands. And so that's the way I see it. And I truly believe that that's what's happening. Because, like I said, and I posted this tweet, if every millionaire, there's 50 million millionaires in this world, if every millionaire wanted to hold one Bitcoin, they could not. They could not, because there's only going to be 18 million Bitcoin. That is 0.34 Bitcoin per millionaire if that was the case. But it's already owned by other people. So it's already in a hard wallet, stored by someone else. It's going to be hard to get. And there's going to be a premium for people that want to buy Bitcoin, because people are going to say, you want to buy my Bitcoin? Okay, you're going to have to spend some hefty money for that. And so, too many bullish things. I can't even continue. I see it as a buying opportunity. I wish I could actually buy more Bitcoin, Litecoin, but I just bought a house, and so, gotta furnish it. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. I haven't done a podcast or anything like that. This is just my thoughts. Just a layman. I'm a layman, dude. I'm nobody who just understands the power of Bitcoin, power of decentralization, and I'm just hoping that someone listening can understand that as well. My thoughts sometimes are just going everywhere. Sometimes I'm jumping from thought to thought, so it's like I might not be making any sense, but it's more of a rant. I wanted to just do a little update, make sure that you guys know that Coin Vigilante podcast is still alive. And I got a big announcement coming up here in a few weeks. Coin Vigilante is doing something big, something that will symbolize our appreciation for time and money. Those two are the least appreciated things in this life. We don't often appreciate that. How valuable time is, how valuable money is. And so I'm going to be making an announcement at some point. Been working on this for several months. It's going to be sweet. Everyone's going to love it. I mean, I hope you do. But anyway, peace out, guys. I'm going to be enjoying the day. This beautiful lake, this beautiful life. Hope you do as well. Peace.